Good morning, my Teaserking family. Hope everybody is well. I'm fine. We'll have a look at what's going on in college football and a little on Mark McGuire I wanted to share with you from his thing. Because we think, brics, they didn't go gold back currency. And, and that's really not what happened. Just a second. So let's look at college football first. Then we can get into the Mark McGuire. Free pick here is Nebraska, laying a half to UCLA. I got 31-10. They should kill them. Hey, G, good morning. So we'll start off any new lines. So we start in Memphis, UTSA. Memphis, 7.5, 61. No change there. Toledo, 9.5, 54.5 to Eastern, no change. Purdue, 2.5, 45 over Northwestern. Purdue went favorite, not sure why, they stink. NC State, 9.5, 47 to Stanford, no change. Ohio State, 3, 47.5. No change, really. They dropped from 3.5 to 3. I assume Allard will play the Penn State quarterback, but we'll see. VTech 4 and 53.5 to Syracuse. Ole Miss 7.5, 54.5 to Arkansas. Really good game. Arkansas can beat them. The Army still 21.5, and you can get a 41.5. Air Force, terrible team, but it's a big military game. Buffalo 1 and 49 to Akron. Akron is slim home dog. Minnesota 3, and you can get a 2.5 and a 3.5 and 45.5 or 46.5. We'll call it 46 to Illinois. Illinois is a live dog here for sure. Miami and Duke. Miami 21, 55 to Duke. Duke's got a real good chance of winning. Auburn 7.5, 48.5 over Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, why are they the dog? They beat Alabama, played Texas close, and Auburn's nowhere near those teams. UAB 3, 57.5 to Tulsa. No change, both W teams. Old D 3 and 60 to App State. App State's got no defense this year. 36 defense, Joey Aguilar, so they're scoring a lot. Old D, pretty even team, but they somehow play well against good passing teams. Nebraska, as I said, they're up to 7 and 38.5, down from 40. That's your free play. 31-10 Nebraska is my score. K-State, 13. And and 46 to Houston. Houston, no offense, pretty decent defense. K-State's 18, very strong team, need the game. Indiana, 7.5, 53.5 to Michigan State. Mine hasn't moved. It's been 7.5. My line's 7. It's about right. Indiana, very strong. Marshall, 10.5, 48 to Lou Monroe. Lou Monroe, pretty good defense, under team. Marshall, an over team. UCF, 6.5. There's 1-6 and a 55.5 to Arizona. I think UCF finally gets a win today. Arizona State, 4.5. Let's do this. Arizona State, 4.5, 57, Oak State. Hasn't moved, 57. And 4.5, jumped to 4.5 yesterday. That line hasn't moved. Should be a real good game. Texas Tech, Iowa State, 13.5, 56 to Texas Tech. Iowa State, really strong defense. Texas Tech, really strong offense. This will be an interesting one. UTEP, 351 to Middle Tennessee. I can find them. There they are, 351. Georgia is 14.5, 15, or 15.5. Take your pleasure. And 52.5. I think this will be a very good game. Florida is much better. Georgia's not as good as they normally are. Defense is okay. Alabama was able to throw on them. I don't know if Florida can throw on them. Actually, Florida's Graham Mertz is out. He's been out the last few games, and the backup scoring points. So we'll see what the backup does. But they play Tennessee very tough. I expect a very good game here. Oregon, 14.5. This line has not moved. 45 to Michigan. Michigan, they're back to Warren. The other quarterback is retired. He got hurt, and he's just not going to heal. So the Tuttle, who they were waiting for, he's out. So they're back to Warren, who sucks. Orgy can't throw the ball. What a mess that is. And Oregon beats Ohio State, comes to Michigan. This is, it's a strange game to me because Oregon should kill them. We'll see. Oregon normally pulls away. North Carolina, 2.5, 50.5 to Florida State. That number hasn't moved. Coastal Carolina, 4, 52.5 to Troy. That number hasn't moved. New Mexico, 7.5, 60.5 to Wyoming. Number hasn't moved. The Navy, there's a 10.5 you can get, and 48.5 to Rice. Rice fired their coach. Mississippi State, 18.5 and 59.5 to UMass. Mississippi State should get a win here. Fresno State, 12 and 46 to Hawaii. Mikey Keene should have a big day, but Hawaii's got a stubborn defense, and I don't know where their offense went. Louisville, Clemson, 10.5, 62 to Louisville. Both A teams. Clemson's been scoring a ton. Louisville can score. I love their quarterback. Should be a very good game there. Iowa down to 2.5 from 3 and 41.5. I'm not sure why people are betting Wisconsin here. We'll see what happens. I don't know. It's not really an under game. Iowa can score with the running back. Wisconsin's, decent. They don't have the real strong defense, so I don't see this as an under. A&M 3-44 to South Carolina. Both teams 18 defense. A&M off the victory over LSU. Look for them to be a little flat this week against South Car. South Alabama 6-60. That line hasn't moved to Georgia Southern. And there's like a small deck this week. We got USC 2 and 55.5 to Washington. I'm very surprised that USC's favorite here. Washington at home is a very good team. They beat Michigan at home. They go to Iowa and lose. But when the games, it seems to be a lot of home teams, a lot of with the travel. Here you don't have the travel. They're both West Coast teams. But Washington is very strong home dog here. UK, Tennessee 17.5, 45.5. This number has not moved. The total has not moved up or down. Colorado State 2.5, 45.5. Nevada gets their quarterback Lewis back, makes a big difference. Very live home dog here. Pitt SMU is 7. A little bit of Pitt action and 56. So this number's dropped from 57.5. And Pitt's, they're both A teams, very, very strong teams. And Baylor TCU, Baylor 3-63. The TCU, both are over teams. Should be a lot of fireworks in this game. That is your college look today. Let's see what happened last night. So we had Tulane beat Charlotte 34-3. This is Thursday night. Yesterday, UConn beats Georgia State 34-27. UConn not too bad. And then South Florida beats Florida Atlantic 44-21. Interesting game. And then Boise does kick ass 56-24 over San Diego State. I did, I like Boise, but I thought the line was a little high, but apparently it wasn't high enough. Just a second. Hmm. All right. So Boise does get the win, 56. They win by what, 28? No, they win by 32. So they cover the 24, which is a good sign because we like when that happens. So I had Western Kentucky, but I didn't play it, and they won by 17. I would have lost it. That's why I hate those Wednesday, Thursday games. Tulane does crush Charlotte. And then that's about all I had. South Florida, Florida Atlantic, E teams. Yeah, probably should have been an over with the 30 defenses, I would assume. All right. So I got a ton of games today. I think I'm going to add a couple. I see a couple to add. I mean, this is like such a good week. I just feel I see good matchups. I like the Nebraska game, and it's not even a lock, and it's a good matchup. A very strong defense going against UCLA, who doesn't have a strong offense. Things like that. So as I look at the games, they just line up really good. So I'll probably add a little bit more here. It's like a kid in a candy store. I want this candy and that one and that one. All right. I'm making my parlor right now. Well, good luck. You can make us the 18,000 this week. Um, it's a real tough one. I think it's an over game in my gut. I haven't played it yet, but I just they're both pretty high scoring teams, but SMU played Duke and it was like 27-26 or something like that in overtime. So I don't know how strong their defense is, but Pitt's got a better offense than Duke. So I think it's an over. I don't think I'd fuck around with SMU even against Pitt. Pitt's too strong offensively, and Pitt's undefeated. I think if you play that game, you probably go Pitt is the dog or go over, depending on your gut feel. But I got Pitt's a 22 defense and SMU's a 21 defense. They both get 400 yards. They're both A teams. So it's either tease the dog or play the game over. It's 56 over 50. I think that's 28-24. I think you'll get that with these guys. So that's how I look at it. Hey, Lori. Quarterback for Army's out today. Well, okay. Then maybe don't play them. Play one of the others. Interesting. Let me check that. Yeah, Army's been passing the ball a lot more. Let's see. Do we have the right quarterback? They got multiples. Let's see. I don't see that. I see Mundell. What quarterback do you see out? Mundell's not their starter. But I don't. I'm looking at injuries. I don't see Army's quarterback. So they have 3 or 4. Well, wait. We gotta. I don't. Which Army quarterback? The one that we want is Daly. Let's see. And we don't know. Their backup's probably pretty good. Although they've been passing the ball a lot, and Air Force sucks. But let me find it here. Let's see. See, Daly's their regular quarterback. Well, they're not giving me injuries. Familiar lineup to be fielded again. Army football depth chart versus Air Force. It says the starting lineups there. Where are you reading this? Got an illness? Oh, I believe you. Oh, we'll see. I've already played it, but if you don't want to play it, don't play it. Play a different one. I'm going to add one now anyway. So play UCF if you'd rather. I'm going to add UCF. I got to figure out who am I adding it with. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm struggling to find the team to put them with. I'll play them. I don't want to do that. Okay. Yeah, I don't like them. Let's see. I was going to play that. All right, I just added a play. That with that. Okay. Yeah, if you don't feel comfortable with Army, just lay away from them. I've still played them. I still think Air Force is so bad. It's a big game. I'm sure Army's backup is going to be okay. But yeah, good to know. I didn't see that injury anywhere, but that good. Well, they still, but the line. It's funny, is the line really? Uh, when I look at Army and Air Force, the line is. Let's see. It's still 22 and a half, 22. The line is not like going to nothing. It's not like it went from 21 and a half to 19. It's still 22. So I just think the way their offense is looking, I'm sure they're fine. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. Injuries happen. Teams like Army, Navy have pretty good backup quarterbacks. They run them a lot, but yeah, this is the first I've heard of it, but that's okay. Good catch, Lori. Yeah, he's a good one, and you'd rather have him. So, maybe lay away from that game if you haven't bet it. I only have 15 plays out there, and I just added one. So, um, go with Nebraska and go with, a couple others that I've got. Anyway, 4 locks out there. Free play Nebraska over UCLA. I'm debating Oregon, Michigan. I mean, obviously Oregon's much better. It's 14 and a half, still 8.5 at Michigan. I think they kill them probably by 20. Oregon tends to just methodically beat the hell out of you, and I don't think Michigan's going to get much. They'll try the little fake halfback pass or the little end around bullshit. But it's too big of a game for Oregon. They beat Ohio State. They can't lose to Michigan. I'd be surprised. If it was anything, if I could get under a touchdown, I'd play it. So I just not comfortable with that, but I still think that Oregon will beat them. And that's it. So 4 locks in the pros. And again, any other surprise injuries, I don't know. All I can do is I go to covers, I go to the matchups, right? I go to the injuries, and he ain't listed. So that's how I see the injuries. And covers is now pretty live, so that's all I can say. Some good games. Louisville, Clemson, Ohio State, Penn State, Vanderbilt, Army. I can't believe Vanderbilt's a dog. Indy against Michigan State. Indy strong. Florida, Georgia, good game. Navy Rice, the Rice coach, got fired last week. So look for Navy to get back after losing to Notre Dame. That's for sure. Clemson, Louisville's good game. Kentucky, Tennessee, TCU, Baylor should be a lot of points. And Pitt, SMU should be a very good. Again, I don't know why there's no 10 o'clock game. I don't know if it was because they thought the World Series would still be on and they didn't schedule anything late to compete with the World Series. That's my only guess. Anyway, so that's what's going on. Look for your live dogs. Look for your overs and unders. You know the drill. And that'd be college. Pros we can quickly look at. Now I looked at the Lions, Green Bay, because of the weather, but I don't see the line moving. It's still 7.5, or it's still 47.5. We'll go through the line now. We got Buffalo 649.5 to Miami. We got Atlanta 352 to Dallas. New Orleans 743.5 to Carolina. Again, why are they playing Bryce Young? And we got Carr back. You got to love New Orleans there. Cincinnati 745 to Oakland. Baltimore 9.5, 46 to Denver. That's your free play. Take Denver and 15.5. Play them with Navy maybe. That's ridiculous. Denver with a strong defense. Baltimore's not going to do much. They're not going to win by 20 points. Washington's up to 3.5 and 44 to the Giants. Big game from Daniels. San Diego 1.5, 42.5 to Cleveland. Tennessee 3.5, 38 to New England. Philly 7.5, 46 to Jacksonville. That's the game I'm trying to decide what the fuck to do with it. Arizona 144.5 to the Bears. Detroit 2.5, and then it's all 47.5. So they had reached 48.5. They're down to 47.5. The weather is supposed to be rainy and a little bit of wind, 10 miles an hour, not much. But I don't know how you can forecast that on Friday that it's going to be raining Sunday afternoon the whole day. So probably looking at cloud patterns, but if the wind blows the wrong way, the clouds move away. So we'll see. I'm still thinking there'll be some scoring in this game. The Rams won 48. DK Metcalf is out. So I was going to play the game, and now I don't think I'm going to play the game. I might play it, but it'll be softer. Mini 5.5, 46.5. And Kansas City's now 9.5, 45.5 to Tampa. So if we look for so the best game is Detroit, Green Bay. They both need it. Denver, Baltimore. They both need it. Washington is much better than they're an 8 team now, and people haven't figured that out yet. I mean, this should be a 7-point favorite. They're only 3.5, 4. San Diego is a small favorite over Cleveland with Winston. They're way overvaluing that. Cincinnati doesn't have a defense. Oakland, Minshew can get you some points. Buffalo, Miami. Tag always chokes against the good teams. He'll choke here. Dallas, Atlanta. Micah Parsons is out, so look for a lot of points from Atlanta. And the Jets is won 21-13 over Houston. Stroud doesn't look too good, so be careful there. We got Flacco starting for Indy. What else? Bo Nix against Lamar, Carr against Young. I don't know what Carolina's thinking. Yeah, well, we saw how good Bryce Young is, so let's start him again over Andy Dalton because we don't want to really win. What do they want to do? Get the first pick in the draft so they can dump Young and try to draft another one? Anyway, so college, some interesting games again. Duke, Miami, Ohio State, Penn State. My take is Ohio State wins the game. Ellard's hurt, but he's going to play, I guess. This is a game Ohio State has to win. They've lost to Oregon. Penn State, I don't think has lost, but they haven't really played anybody. They beat Wisconsin. They barely beat USC on the coast. They were down on that game, but Ohio State has to win the game. You're getting 3. This is, I'll be shocked if Ohio State with 3 loses. All right, to Penn State. Penn State just never wins the big game. You're not going to blow out Ohio State, that's for sure. And they play this every year. Vanderbilt, Auburn. Shocked by the line. Vanderbilt, what do they got to do? Fucking beat Alabama, lose to Texas by 3, and you're still disrespecting them. Look for them to win again. Nebraska, free pick. Oregon, probably. I mean, they got to beat Michigan by at least 2 touchdowns, if not 3. I don't know. They keep winning like 35-7. They'll score in the 30s. Michigan, probably like the Texas game, 31-10 or something like that. Michigan does have a defense, so they'll keep it in a little bit. I just think there's bigger fish to fry in the other games. Florida, Georgia should be a good game. Florida is much better than they were against Miami, so keep that in mind. They played Tennessee, a very good game. Look for the same thing here. Let's see. Navy should kill Rice. Rice's coach is out, and they're pissed after losing to Notre. I can't believe they had all these turnovers against Notre Dame. So what are we going to do if we go to war and here's the Navy guys choking, dropping hand grenades and stuff? I'm surprised they choke so bad. Arizona State, Oak State. Arizona State's quarterback's back. Should be a good game there. Louisville, Clemson should be good. Wisconsin, Iowa, USC, Washington. I don't know why USC's favored here. I mean, that's crazy. A&M, South Carolina, look for the upset there as A&M gets the win, beating LSU, now has to go to the road. South Carolina's a very good team. It's just hard to go on the road and get to the same level you're at home with the fans screaming, beating LSU. And then now we got to go on the road to South Carolina, and they're going to be fever pitch. So look for that. And not much at night. Kentucky, Tennessee, TCU, Baylor, Pitt, SMU. That's what we got. So many of these Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday games. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the reason they have them is so you bet them, right? If you got them bunched in here, nobody's betting LTEX, Sam Houston, or Western Kentucky, Tennessee State. You're not betting those games. You want to bet Ohio State. You want to bet on Nebraska and Indiana and those. That's why they do it. So they get 3 games on Tuesday. They get action. Wednesday, a game, 2 games. Thursday, a game, and you get a pro game. And then Friday, there's 3 games yesterday. Although they got hammered by Boise, 56-24. They got that great running back Gentry. I'm still shocked they didn't go over in the Vegas game a week or 2 ago, but there you go. So look for them. We're starting to get like playoff bound teams with the loss have to win. Try to keep an eye on the injuries if you can see it. We know Cam Rising's not playing, so we don't have to worry about him. what do you do with this? I hate when people don't understand the lines. Well, why is the line this? Or why is the line that? Or the line like the Baltimore 9.5 over Denver. Don't read into it. Just you make your pick, you make your line, you make your pick, and then you see if it fits. And then you don't care about the line. Right? I got Denver winning the game 2017. Oh, now you're giving me 9.5. I get 15.5 for the team that should win the game. Thank you very much. I mean, you can't explain Baltimore losing to Oakland and losing to Cleveland. What are you going to do with that? But Denver comes with a 14 defense. Baltimore is not going to do a whole lot. So that's why you make your own lines and your own score. So you put your score down, and then you see what the line is. And then if the line's off, and you just take advantage of it. That's a perfect game where that line makes no sense. You couldn't. Winston lit you up. Now, what are you saying? That game was fixed and we laid down, but we're going to try against Denver? I don't know. Because it doesn't make sense. They did blow out Buffalo at home, Baltimore. So anyway, questions, comments, college football, anything? 4 locks today. I love it. So yeah, and okay, the Army quarterback gets injured, but he could have got injured the first drive of the game. Then what do you do? That's part of betting football that there's nothing you can really do about it. An Army can still win the game. I'm sure their backup has playing time. And let's look at the Army backup. But it could happen any time. That's why you got to be careful betting these games because you could get the injury. All right, so let's look at the stat. Let's see what we got. And we go to what are they in the ACC or the AA, the American Athletic? And we'll go all players. Yeah, Bryson Daly. All right, Dwayne Coleman's the backup. He's played in 5 games. He's 6 of 8, 1 touchdown and no interceptions. At least he's played. That's about it. Yeah, it sucks, but let's hope Dwayne Coleman gives us a big game. At least he's played. But that's what happens, so we'll see. But again, I guess he just got sick last night because he's not on the injury list. But that happened. Like I said, you're going to get guys injured first quarter, second quarter, and, it happens. It's football. DK Metcalf's out. At least we know he's out for Seattle. We can bet accordingly tomorrow, but they looked shitty without him yesterday or last week. They 10 points on Buffalo. The Rams stink. They don't have a defense, but we'll see. Anything in news? Florida Atlantic's Tom Herman, the coach, irate, confronts South Florida head coach after 44. So what? They lost 44-21. He's crying. Did not appreciate the shoe being on the other foot Friday. Okay, so he's crying about something. All right, let's go to Mark McGuire. So Mark's calling for $200 silver. I call for $1,000 silver. He talks about brics, so we can look at that. If you have football questions, just bring them, or comments. Really, we talked about it yesterday pretty thoroughly, and then we're looking at the lines. We find the Army quarterback out, so I got a shitload of games. Just play anybody else. Play Nebraska with Navy instead of Army with Navy. It's fine. If you've already played it, you could take Air Force and the points if you want, but that's crazy. So we're they're still doable. Army can still blow out Air Force. Air Force is terrible this year, so usually an injury. Yeah, you want your starter, but it's not the same. All right, so let's go to Mark
Head over
McGuire.
to sendthevote.com. They'll help you sign up, register, and even this process has been unfolded.
All right, so let's go to Mark's take on the Kazan Summit.
Local London cartel, and settling silver at prices a real seller is willing to part with the bullion. Silver is about to discover a real supply-demand balance. And given the massive silver deficits, that price actually should be closer to $200.
Hey, Andrew, just before we started recording today, we were discussing your take on the BRICS Kazan Summit, which brings into view a great deal of what has so far not been reported on the mainstream media or anywhere, I think. I think that we have to report what you have to report right here, what you were talking about, will push back against the spun narrative, which attempts to play down the de-dollarization process here. What's your take here?
Yeah, the first thing to report is really, it goes against the planted negative mainstream media narrative, trying to ignore the historic Kazan Summit success. And Pepe Escobar puts it well, and I think he says it was historic in more ways than one can imagine, and that Kazan really should be seen as, I think he puts it, as the departing station of a high-speed train journey towards emerging multi-nodal new order. I mean, that was his. I read that I think a couple of days ago, and it was excellently put. But he's the only one that actually really gets it. And following last week's summit conclusion, the mainstream media headlines suggested that progress towards the single currency BRICS settlement, that was the unit we were talking about, it appeared now it wasn't on the front burner. It was still in development. However, as we have evidenced here in this Bloomberg report, which I'm linking here, what it does do is draw attention to the previously identified split between the Bank of International Settlements and the United States. I think you remember we covered this at the time when we saw that split. It was in November 2022, when the BIS covered all their 500 odd tons of derivative bets against gold, went long, and the Fed still continued to this day to fight the price of gold. So that was a split. And what it did is reveal this once again reared its head. The naked short of gold US hegemons put pressure on the long gold Bank of International Settlements to push back against the Bank of International Settlements non-dollar denominated settlement platform, which had been well telegraphed. And they were presenting the argument, that by allowing the launch, it would enable heavily sanctioned countries to circumvent the US dollar's unilaterally imposed sanctions, I may add, and potentially undermine the dollar's dominance in the global financial system. Yeah, really. And following the BIS splitting from the Fed by revaluing gold as a first-year asset class on the 1st of January 2023, and as we remember, against all the Fed's protests, it exposed the Fed as the only central bank still betting against gold. Now, the pressure to rein in the Bank of International Settlements Enbridge solution that we spent a lot of time looking at has opened up the next leg of the war between the Bank of International Settlements and the Fed. And the Bank of International Settlements is much more embracing a multipolar world. They get it. And whereas the Fed is still desperately hanging on to this unipolar hegemon view. Now, while the Fed pushback against Enbridge is being spun as a negative, as we will explain, with or without Enbridge, which would ultimately have really cast the net out beyond the currently sanctioned countries, the buy stealth gold revaluation event that we've been evidencing has been driven by every single global central bank diversifying out of dollars to buy as much gold as possible in order to bolster the value of their individual foreign exchange offerings, their currencies, which are now increasingly measured by the percentage of gold that backs these individual currencies. Now, Enbridge was going to provide.
Let me explain. Right now, the world's running without money. Nobody has money. All this bullshit is exactly what it is. This is not real. This is not money. This is just paper. It's not backed by anything. It really has no value, but nobody really understands it. So they're just fucking around. This has no value. But if you got $100 bill, you think you have $100, but it's not worth anything. The only way money that the paper has value is to back it by gold and silver, mostly gold, but you can back it with silver also. That's the only way to give a value to anything. A Rolex watch is valuable because it's a watch. It's Rolex. The Mantle card's valuable because, or the Mahomes is valuable because it's Mahomes and it's the card and you have it. And it's because there's 50 of them. You have to have the item to give it value. So the dollar must be backed by gold to have value. And none of the dollars are backed by gold except for Zimbabwe. They're the only ones. So I don't know how everything's working because you're basically, nobody has money, right? So these rich people aren't rich because it's monopoly money. And so I'm not really sure how the system's working with this fake money. It's what the Nazis did in 1933 when they were bankrupt, because they never really recovered from 1923 being bankrupt. And then they wanted to build a military and they had no money, so they came out with fake money like we're doing. And they said the promise is that as we get gold, we'll pay you back in gold-backed currency. That was the Nazis in the 30s, what the promise was. Oh, well, we don't have money now, but we're going to get money. When we get money, we'll give it to you. So they're doing all this thing with just bullshit money that wasn't worth anything. That's why Hitler went after all the gold. And he had a ton of gold after going into each country and stealing it. But here we don't have any gold. It's all gone to China. We have nothing in Fort Knox. And then how the world is running on fake dollars is beyond me. I guess people accept it, but it's not money. It doesn't have value. So anyway, I think that's where this whole BRICS thing is gonna really hit. They'll have gold, which is real money, right? Gold is real. And so that's why the US is scared shitless, because they know once they roll out gold-backed currency, you're fucked, because who wants this when I can have gold? Well, what do I do every week? I go and buy more gold because I want to get out of this, and I want to buy gold, and I want to buy silver, and I don't want to hold this. So I keep holding the gold. I keep getting the gold and silver, getting out of there. So that's what all these countries are buying gold for, the gold-backed currency. They need gold, and that's what BRICS is going to do. So everybody thinks BRICS put it on hold and all that bullshit. They didn't. Again, they have to be very careful, because the U.S. is going to nuke everybody or kill everybody or whatever the U.S. does. They're like a bunch of babies that they want to take their ball and go home. So be careful, but none of the dollars are worth anything. The euro is not worth anything. The dollar, the Swiss franc, the British pound, it's all collapsing. And as soon as this gold comes out, it's collapsed, because the demand for the gold will be much higher than the demand for the dollars. So with no demand, it's not worth anything.
An easy platform for that. But it's no surprise the much heralded Enbridge CB, central bank digital currency, has caught the attention of the deeply wrong-footed Fed plunge protection team, who they love the idea of a central bank digital currency, but not a gold-backed one. And these 40% gold-backed offerings expose the Fed's naked short rehypothecated gold positioning, hence the efforts to dissuade non-core BRICS members from widely adopting it. Now, the timing of this BIS sanctioned rollout put the Fed really between a rock and a hard place. Thus, threats of direct, indirect geopolitical interference. And while non-core members are biding their time until the US elections are settled, that's only next week. So beyond the financial appeal of the bloc, many countries are seeking to adopt the BRICS membership really as a form of geopolitical insurance, and are most definitely on board to find ways of hedging their dollar bets with gold. And as we highlighted in our episodes, all the episodes since February, it is as pivotal an event as when Nixon removed the ability to exchange dollars for gold. And this process has been unfolding by stealth. We've looked at it on the charts month by month by month. Now the train has left the station. What cannot be hidden is that the ultimate ease of adoption for existing bloc members, alongside a multiple of fresh applicants being able to join this bloc to access the sufficiently liquid, de-weaponized, and it was originally the Enbridge payment solution, but there are others, it fully exposes the pivotal inflection point where, against the Fed's lobbying efforts, the BIS revalued gold, as I say, as a first-tier asset class in 2023, triggering the largest on- and off-record global central bank institutional physical gold accumulation drive in history. The bulk of these gold purchases involved divesting dollars for US treasuries. In fact, just like in January 2023, we don't see the gold bullish BIS laying down for the short of gold Fed. They're likely choosing their timing until after the election. And we can report through our well-connected BRICS facing contacts who have been correct into every single twist and turn that to facilitate trade between already sanctioned nations, Russia has activated both Glasnev's Option 1, BRICS STR-like basket of currencies, as well as rolling out the big guns, which is the extremely liquid gold and commodity grain and natural asset-based currency, which will be officially named and launched shortly after the US election next week. Now, through distributed ledger technology, other words, on the blockchain rails, already sanctioned nations have everything to gain and nothing to lose into participating. And to give an idea of scale, a full 1/3 of all countries are already sanctioned, including 60% of the low-income nations who either produce or consume the lion's share of all commodities, and they will be pricing these commodities, including gold, silver, and precious metals, rare earths, etc., traded amongst themselves, priced in gold. So the attempt to block this Enbridge platform so as to maintain waning dollar dominance will fail, because the lion's share of global commodities are going to be priced as benchmarked against gold. And these same global-facing assets, when they're priced in depreciating, unbacked dollars, will be massively inflationary in dollar terms. We've covered this before, but I'm going to expand.
So everything's going to get priced in gold. Price of gold goes to the moon. And the commodities keep their value because they're priced in gold. They're priced in dollars. That's why the prices keep going up, is the dollar's losing value. You can't print all the dollars they're printing and keep the value. This is what the Keynesians and the MMTs and this idiot Reichert don't understand. They think, well, we'll just keep printing it without understanding the value drops. So the dollars are worth less because you print more, which then creates that the dollars are worth less. It looks like prices are going up, but it really isn't. It's just the value of the dollar keeps dropping. Or you can be in gold, where the value of the gold never drops. It can't drop because you can't make any more, right? You pull a little bit of gold out of the earth, that's it. It gets bought up quickly because everybody knows. And it's like the Mahomes card, right? Oh, give me another 50. Oh, here's number 37. Oh, I'm going to buy that because it's a 50 count. So gold's very limited like that. So it's not going to lose its value. You can't print it. You can't copy it. So therefore, that's why it's been around for 6,000 years as money. The governments don't like it because they like to be corrupt and they like to print money, and they can't, if they keep printing it, they're not realizing it's worthless. So that's what's happening with your money. So that's why you move it into gold, and you can see it keeps going up. It's 27.37 as we speak, gold. It's closed for today. It opens tomorrow night, which is really Monday morning in Asia. They're the ones who start. So it's 3 sessions. It's Asia gets it from like 7 o'clock till like 2 in the morning. And then Europe comes in like 2 to 8 or 2 to 10. And then the US 10 to about 5. And that's why you see these wild, it goes way up in the morning. You wake up, it's high. And then the US tries their little games. And then the Asians buy it right back. So it's all stupid games. As he says, most of the buying are being done outside of COMEX now, and we're looking to get a physical price for gold, not this stupid paper price. So when I hear people say, well, gold's too expensive, I don't want it, it's going to come down. It's not coming down. It's not even close to where it should be. It should be 20,000 an ounce. Because you've had all these derivatives, and if you pricing it in dollars and the way the dollar is being inflated, it should be much, much higher. But they keep trying to do the paper derivatives to keep the price down. That's where I get my, it's just a educated guess, 20 grand. Because the momentum, once people realize the dollar's worthless, it's going to be the frenzy of getting off the Titanic before it sinks. It's going to be getting out of the dollar before it's worthless, even though it just about is worthless. So keep that in mind. That's really the goal here.
Right. And on why the current by stealth gold revaluation process will continue to unfold. Now, our BRICS-facing liquidity providers continue to expect a minimum of 3,000 gold just as the first staging point for Glasnev's option 2, which our contacts confirm is most definitely going to be rolled out now. And ultimately, this sanction-busting solution is designed to confluence with a revamped Enbridge unit-like solution in some other form. But, the BIS is not going to roll over here. Also, if Trump wins the election, we may see the dollar selectively de-weaponized, which could actually see many sanctions, including those against Russia, evaporate. So we don't know that, but the chances are, once there's peace or some form of peace settlement agreed, why would the sanctions need to exist? Notwithstanding the headlines, the Central Bank of the UAE and the People's Bank of China, they've already formalized currency swap agreements. They've utilized Enbridge. They've also utilized other platforms. So in early September, I think the UAE was on record executing an international China digital yuan exchange for the UAE's central bank digital dirham. And they used Enbridge at the time. There's other facilities here. And while the Fed is pushing against wider adoption of Enbridge, pushing against it, they will attempt to roll out their own dollar-denominated central bank digital currency. And while some bloc members may utilize such a platform, it won't solve the risks of any future dollar weaponizations. For example, if China encounters large tariffs, it probably moves against Taiwan. Probably a much less to lose by doing so if it's already
Yeah, there won't be
sanctioned.
a war with
Also,
Taiwan. They don't want it.
Potential Trump presidency forewarning of sanctions, tariffs being imposed on any country pursuing a de-dollarizing mandate, explains some interesting BRICS maneuvering by Russia and China, stick-handling the BRICS alternative settlement platform to be immune from Western sanctions. Now, into this mix are well-connected liquidity providers integrated with the current sanctioned core members, confirmed that Glaciev's beta-tested option 2 is planned to be formally announced directly after the US election. So we're almost certain this is going to roll out. Likely on the 1st of December, it would be just enough time to liaise with Trump and his intentions. If Harris wins, liquidity providers indicate it will be announced on November the 6th. Now, in the interim, every single central bank, sovereign and institutional investor is hedging their dollar assets with physical gold. And while the CTAs, the commodity trading advisors, a lot of them we've called the useful fools in the past, but a lot of them are using gold as a sticky hedging item. They may from time to time cash in their risk market hedges into stock market margin calls. Usually that's when we've seen the discounts, is when they've literally dumped those hedges when stocks have fallen. So every single ounce, though, every ounce, kilo, ton of gold that has flowed through the BRICS nations will never return to the West. And whether this gold is utilized by a single member to benchmark their foreign exchange currencies, as it would relate to the LBMA dollar fixed price, i.e. how many rupees, etc., it would require to take delivery of a globally priced physical bar for immediate delivery, that is, or perhaps to provide non-dollar denominated gold-backed swap lines so as to participate in Glaciev's yet-to-be-named Option 2 gold-backed platform.
Now, Andrew, as you once again correctly predicted, it looks like that Glaciev's gold-backed commodity currency is actually ready to be named and launched. And you also mentioned some other interesting information. Can you sum that up, please, what you were mentioning?
Yeah. And to sum that up, all under the radar of the Kazan Summit headlines, some major gold drivers are now in play. And as we anticipated, Putin and Xi are boxing clever ahead of an increasingly likely Trump presidency, as was trial ballooned by Putin's so-called olive branch comments 2 days ahead of the BRICS Kazan Summit. And with Trump looking increasingly likely to win, Putin offered Trump an opportunity to back off US sanctions and move to reverse some of the last administration's dollar weaponization efforts, outlining, as he put it, the risks of rushing into the BRICS single currency plan. Now, Putin was essentially offering an opportunity for central banks to begin cooperating. Ever pragmatic. People don't understand this guy is pragmatic, but his statement was actually conjoined with a mandate for the BRICS bank's capital to be significantly increased. So from a financial perspective, offering the deep state hegemon, albeit a very unlikely to be accepted olive France, presents a leveling strategy not too dissimilar to, say, one nuclear power agreeing out of necessity to peacefully respect the other out of mutual strength. And in this case, the financial nuclear strength is that the BRICS nations have already armed themselves with sufficient zero counterparty risk physical gold to directly compete against US hegemons' high counterparty risk US treasuries. And given the state of the US finances, this is a powerful negotiating position to be in. So let's see how this rolls out. And furthermore, the spun narratives that we've been seeing continue to be blinkered to the already broken dollar bond gold correlations. And they fail to factor in that, stick handled by the Sino-Russian alliance, the gold price is now being physically priced and settled outside the tendrils of the US dollar hegemons, who comparatively hold a very, very weak gold hand.
Now, one only has to look at the massive rally that commenced directly after the PBOC weaponized gold by stealth on the 1st of March, strategically opening up the Shanghai Futures Exchange to act as the conduit to target and drain the COMEX price-setting mechanism. Now,
So that last chart shows you why gold's not going to come down. There's too much demand. If you have demand for a product, how will the price drop? The price drops when there's no demand, right? So I got my Canadian club and people love it, and it's 12 years, so it's limited, and the demand's there, the price keeps going up. It's if nobody wants it, the price goes down. Well, everybody wants gold, and they're buying it off of, not on COMEX, but off of COMEX, the Shanghai Gold Exchange. They are trying to drain COMEX. So how the hell is the price going to go down? So when people make stupid comments like, well, I think this price too high, based on what? It's been paper derivative price, therefore the price isn't close to reality. It is not too high. People don't understand. This is not free market gold. It's price fixed. But they're breaking the price fix. This is what we love about competition. China and Russia are saying, we are going to set the price. COMEX is here, and COMEX can't compete because they got real gold, and we got toilet paper here. So that's what you have. That's why gold's not coming down. Gold is going to 3,000, as he said, and it'll hit 10,000 soon. I mean, it'll really explode. That's what we're waiting for, but we know where it's going. It's going up. It's not going down. It's never going to happen with everything that's going on now. And as we're printing money, we're making our dollar worthless more and more. It's like worth 1 cent now. $100 bill is worth $1. If you go back to 1940s or 1950s or whatever. Even now, what do you buy? You go to the grocery store. $100 buys you a little bit of meat and a little bit of veggies. Doesn't buy you what was $100. Like when I was young and I'd go to the grocery store with my family, they'd fill the cart and it would be $50. I mean, so that's what I mean. That's the value of your dollar is gone. But now that they're increasing with the gold, I don't worry about, oh, well, gold's going to go down. Gold's never going down. Not at this level. When it hits 3, you get these little pullbacks because the U.S. is still playing the derivative game. So in other words, when gold shoots up to 2,800, they'll do these derivatives because it's so high, and then I don't know if they sell them at 2,750 or what they do. But then as they get rid of the cycle, then it goes back up, and that's what you see here. So the U.S. tried to get it down to 27. 30. Then it shoots back up to 2760 because Asia keeps Asia keeps pounding it. And so now it's 27.36 after the US, but then Asia comes in at 6 o'clock and starts buying it. So my advice is if you're going to go buy, go to about 10:30, 11:30. After you see this drop, then go buy. And then it's wait for it to go back up. But I mean, the short-term target's 3,500 and the long-term target's 10,000. And the real long-term is gold buys you a nice house because there is no more dollar. So that'll be the next phase, is the dollar going to zero. And they can do CBDCs, isn't going to help. It's still not backed by gold. If it's not backed by gold, it's worthless because gold gives you value. Gold, again, this has no value, but if it's backed by gold, it's the value of the gold, not the dollar. They're just there's not enough ounces to go around, so you can't all have gold coins in your pocket because there's not enough. So you print the dollars. So an ounce of gold maybe prints $10,000. So yeah, people can have that or link it, but the dollar will be gold back again. I mean, look in the 60s, there was still 300 million people, but the money was backed by gold. So it wasn't like we don't have enough gold to go around. That's why you make it into dollars. So there is, and then it's 10,000 an ounce. You have enough dollars. The U.S. is scared because they know they're going out. The U.S. is gone. They've lost the game. The game's over, and they're just trying to hold on. Let's go on fourth down. No, the game's over. You're down 40 points. So that's why it's never going down. Again, we're getting out of the paper into a physical market. And that's good for if you have gold. And if you don't, go buy some before you can't afford it. But you got to get out of the dollar. So if you got $1 million in your 401k, you're fucked. It's worthless. It's monopoly money. You want to be in gold before the dollar goes to zero. And with all that he just said with BRICS and the competition with the Shanghai Gold Exchange, and we keep printing $1 trillion a quarter to pay the interest on the debt. How in the world are we doing anything? So it's just it's basically all over for us. You can't see it like you can see the Titanic. You can see the Titanic if you're on it. It's 3/4 in the water. Geez, I think we're sinking, and you just can't see we're 3/4 in the water, but we are, if at least. So that's really the problem. So keep that in mind. All right.
The $700 rally from the missile launch, that missile launch has exposed gold as well as on the road to being revalued by the BRICS nations. Every single global central bank except the Fed is on board. And if you remember, we identified, we'd circled this blue circle here, and last time we'd also circled it here, identifying this as a similar catalyst. And if we step back and look at the big picture on a very stripped down chart, this is the exact point that the Bank of International Settlements railed against the Fed and revalued gold as a first-year asset class. And look what's happened since then. The divergence between the BIS, and which is very much multipolar facing, and the unipolar US dollar, US Fed, is clear. Just before I end the charts here, look at the November premium in silver. And this is the spot premium to November. So even that is now really backwardated.
So what's being misread by
Bobby
analysts who are trying to spin the BRICS summit as a dud, basically? And that while the US hegemons are threatening bloc members to rein in attempts to de-dollarize, the already sanctioned nations are by necessity aggressively de-dollarizing. Now, the BRICS Cross-Border Payment Initiative, that's the BPI, as the acronym for it, it's being actively bolstered and is geared up to enable
that's
both
Mark.
sanctioned and non-sanctioned nations to use national currencies without interference when they trade with each other. And each of the foreshadowed BRICS blocks ultimately produce or consume around 85% of all commodities. So a large percentage of these trades will be settled amongst themselves without incurring US hegemon's pushback.
You know, Andrew, as you've been drawing attention to the dollar weaponization risks that are very real here, so given an alternative non-dollar settlement, let's say it's an alternative, why would a trading bloc risk using the dollar unless it really had to?
Yeah, exactly. Precisely, Shane. Dollar weaponization has
Just a second, Bobby.
evidenced the seizure of hundreds of billions of dollars of assets that have been stolen, have actually just been taken with a click of a mouse, alongside the freezing of the reserves of Iran, Syria, Libya, Afghanistan, Venezuela, North Korea. I mean, these are all nations that have had their reserves frozen. As yet, not stolen, but frozen. And as a result, trade between these mega trading hubs are having to be settled using a mixture of their own nation's currencies as they are valued against each other, requiring a sufficiently liquid gold benchmark to enable a sufficiently liquid sanction-proof trade. And there's certainly enough gold. We've looked in previous episodes at just how much gold backs the Sino-Russian alliance on its own. Now, Pepe Escobar correctly points out, too, how the monopoly that the United States exercises over the IMF ensures global demand for dollars, which is why it can run these massive current account deficits while weaponizing its currency at the same time to serve its geopolitical interests. Now, the growing number of BRICS nations see the US government as waging economic war around the world, i.e. against the multipolar world. And alongside literally seizing hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars of assets from their adversaries, they've imposed unilateral sanctions, clicked like that, on a third, as we say, of all countries, including 60% of low-income nations, which is deliberately designed to cause them problems. And to provide contrast, just the original 5 BRICS countries make up 32% of global GDP. But inequitably, they've only got 13.5% of voting shares of the IMF, whereas the G7 nations only make up 30% of global GDP, but hold over 41% of all the voting shares of the IMF. It's a rigged game. So even every single one of these sanctioned nations have as a direct result really of dollar weaponization, they've been strategically accruing or settling transactions in gold. And the settlement process is far simpler than the naysayers indicate. You don't need Enbridge. And as we were trying to illustrate earlier, because globally settled FX gold fixes are reclassified as a first-year asset class, competing with US Treasuries, the global gold fix price provides a real benchmark to actually value all currencies and derivatives thereof. And that includes the 60% of those nations, smaller nations. Now, this provides a benchmark to value how much of a nation's foreign exchange currency would it take to actually buy a gram, a kilo, as I say, a ton, but for immediate physical delivery. Therefore, the higher the percentage of gold that nation is able to demonstrate they put up to the BRICS as bailee, as security for a transaction, or to simply back that currency swap or trade, that explains. So really, it values it, which explains why all of these nations' central banks have for years been aggressively accruing gold. So setting Enbridge completely aside, because so much has been made of the fact that it's been delayed, the value of each foreign exchange cross, as I say, really is determined. It's so good, so clear. It's got to be so clear on how this is valued now. Is how many actual rubles, reals, rupees, etc., would be accepted as a payment in full by a seller of physical gold facing the global market. Meaning, the higher the percentage of gold that nation is able to put up as a security, prices that transaction. And obviously, the decentralized 40% gold-backed Enbridge CBDC platform had already been tested and will almost certainly be backed in play, simplifying the process of settling these BRICS transactions. And probably limited it won't be as apolitical, perhaps in its early days, as was originally intended. With the BIS ultimately acting as Bailey, the unit settlement process securely benchmarks how much gold backs up and benchmarks the value of each of these respective nations' foreign exchange crop.
So there is your demand for gold. So they're all buying like crazy because they gotta make their dollar worth more because the dollar will be in the basket. So that as long as you got demand, price goes up. You don't have to worry about price dropping. So it's beautiful. So yeah, BRICS will be gold backed currency soon. I guess by December 1st, and or if Kamala Harris goes, we all move to Russia anyway. Be November 6th, but should be soon. If Trump wins, hopefully he ends the stupid war. And then we get back to business, and then here comes the gold-backed currency, and then we go buy more gold and silver. Bobby Bo, you love Ohio State today? Yeah, I don't love them, but they always play. It's always a tough game at Penn State, but if the quarterback's questionable or he's playing hurt, Ohio State should win. Yes, it's Mark McGuire. Luke doing what he's still. Luke's always nervous. He's reading the thing. He needs to see this because this is saying that they are coming out with gold-backed currency. Don't worry, but it kind of said it was on pause, and so he thinks, oh, they didn't do the gold-backed currency, and that's why I'm showing Mark McGuire now. He is saying, no, they're doing gold-backed currency. They have to get out of the dollar, and with all these sanctions, so they're sanctioning proof because. Here's Trump. He didn't even win yet, so he apparently sounds like he won, saying, we're going to sanction you guys, China and that. Fine, we'll use this dollar backed by gold, and you can't sanction us. And nobody's going to want your shit dollar. Yeah, the USA is the leading consumer, but how are you going to pay us? Oh, you're going to use this that's worth 1 cent? We don't want it. And that'll be the thing. Although right now the world's running on without money, so I laugh my ass off. Let's go, Trump. How about the epic Yankee collapse? Did you think the game was fixed? How could Aaron Judge drop a fly ball in the World Series? How could the pitcher not cover first? On a ground ball to first. You learn that in Little League. I learned that when I was 6 years old. Pitcher covers first base. I mean, how those two plays happened makes it feel like it was not on the level. Now, why would the Yankees throw it? I don't know. But if they actually tried, if this is the level of baseball, I'm watching Double-A baseball in the World Series. I'm not watching professional baseball. I'm watching Double-A. And then the Yankees crawl back with a 6-5 lead, and the manager pulls the best pitcher on their team. What was that? Well, he might get tired. This is the last game. He's got to – you let him go. You don't take him out. And then the guy he brings in can't even throw a strike. Well, 4-pitch walk. Well, what is that? Absolutely ridiculous. Terrible managing. All these managers with, I got to pull my pitcher because he might get tired. He's thrown 100 pitches. I can barely watch it. I was glad it was over because I was watching a little of it and I was like, it's all minor league shit. They gave up 5 runs with 2 out to the Dodgers, and all the runs were pretty much all caused by errors. Yeah, 3 errors. They made a bunch of little league mistakes. I would have made those plays as 10-year-old little. I made those plays as 10-year-old leaguer. How does the center fielder? Why is Aaron Judge in center field? He's not a good center fielder. He has no arm. He couldn't throw anybody out, and apparently he can't catch either. Obviously, he's a choker. So now you got problems with Aaron Judge. I was glad it's over because I couldn't watch any more of that crap. It's like the NBA. It's all 3-point shooting. I can't watch it. What would Kareem do now? Why? Well, he'd skyhook you. Well, no, we go skyhook from the 3-point line, Kareem. Somebody's all fucked up with these analytics. It's ruined basketball. It's ruined baseball. You can't go 3 times to the lineup. You can't. No, it's only 100 pitches. Then he's not as good. Let's have 18 bullpen guys. What the fuck is that all about? I agree. Well, I mean, I listen to the Tigers, and they're talking about hitting the cutoff man. Hit the cutoff man. I learned that when I was 7 years old. I played second base. I was the cutoff man. You don't know that, and these guys are in professional baseball, and they don't know hit the cutoff man? What the fuck's going on? Yeah, not to mention Aaron Judge officially had the lowest batting average in postseason history. Choking might be an understatement, Professor. Yeah, I mean, see, guys that hit 50 home runs during the year, when do they hit them? There was a guy in the Tigers, Darrell Evans, who would hit solo home runs when the score was 10-0, either up or down. But when the pressure was on, he never hit a home run. And that's what you have. Aaron Judge is a choke. Shotani, I hate that guy. He gets thrown out, so he complains he hurt his shoulder. What a gamer. What a loser that guy is. Yeah, and then I got to see Magic Johnson. Go to the Lakers. Don't wear a Dodgers coat. Wear a Laker coat, please. You're a Laker. You're not a Dodger. Don't try to be. So yeah, I didn't like that at all. I can't watch baseball. It's so bad. If this is the world, if these are the best 2 teams, baseball's got big problems. I mean, for a team like the Tigers to do what they did was a joke because the pitchers would groove the ball because they'd get to the minor league pitchers and they'd throw the ball and they'd groove it. And I'm watching this guy hit a home run, and it's like, fuck, I could have hit a home run on that. It was right down the middle. Bell tie right down the middle, and the guy hits a home run. Yeah, big deal. Look at the pitches he's getting. That's what makes my boy Barry so special because he either hit home runs or he doubled or singled or they just had to walk him. Judge is either home run or strikeout, and mostly strikeout. But he can't field. Barry could field. You could field. He couldn't. He can't. How do you? You're a 5-0 lead in the World Series. How do you not make that catch? How can it not be? And then how can the pitcher? You're getting out of it. How can the pitcher not cover first? Or the first baseman not realize it and get his ass there? That was just terrible play calling. And then the manager, these managers they all should be fired. If I was managing a team, I'd say we don't have a pitch count and you're all pitching on 3 days rest from now on. Every 4th day, I want your ass on the mound and you're going to go at least 8 innings. And if you don't go 8 and you only go 4 or 5, you're going back down to minor leagues. I don't need shit like that. Why are all the pitchers getting injured if they're all only pitching every fucking 5th day and only 100 pitches? Why are they all getting injured? You're barely pitching. Oh, they're throwing curveball. Why isn't it a curveball anymore? It's a sweeper. It's a spin rate. What am I listening to? It's like football with the line to gain instead of the first down. Why are they switching language on us? This is an elitist thing. This is a communist thing. Changing names, getting rid of history, things like that. Is that what we're dealing with? Why isn't it the first down marker anymore? Why is it the line to gain? What does that mean? The line to gain doesn't mean anything. Oh, it's the first down line. So call it the first down. Like it's been called for 50 years. Stop making these idiotic changes. I hate it. It's all bullshit. But yeah, I mean, Barry was great because you couldn't get him out, and he got so many walks, and he'd hit the ball into the bay. I don't know what the big deal is with steroids. It's not illegal. It's not illegal in baseball. It's not illegal in the country. So if the guy took aspirin, why would that be a problem? Which, by the way, don't take aspirin. If you want the best blood thinner, it's cayenne pepper. And aspirin will really hurt you if you take an aspirin a day. Anything that the doctors now tell you, avoid. Take what Barbara O'Neill shows you. So I went to Mongolian barbecue last week with Alyssa. Never been there. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of like a Japanese steakhouse where you choose it and they cook in front of you. Only you take it to a place, they cook it, and then you got it in a big bowl. And I put cayenne pepper into my little sauces, but I put a lot of cayenne pepper in. I was just going to kind of, take the meat and dunk it in the cayenne pepper, take a little and eat it as like salt or pepper. But they actually poured it on all my shit. And I'm like, no, it's because it was like half full. That was a tough meal because it was, you could taste cayenne pepper in every bite. It was like, oh my God. So I said, we got to go back this weekend and I'm going to do it without the cayenne pepper. But it was pretty neat. It was $17 for, you fill a bowl with chicken and beef or fish and then veggies and stuff like that. And then they throw it on the oven and you got a little section and they cook it up for 5-6 minutes. Tastes pretty good. Then you can put sauces on it. So it was pretty good for, the price, but too much cayenne pepper on mine. So I figured I'll be healthy for the next month with all the cayenne pepper I ate. Holy fuck. And that stuff's hot. Shit. Anyway, so watch that stuff. I might go tonight. Probably either tonight or tomorrow. Depends when Alyssa's available. But if I think about it, I go to Chinese in General Chow and I get an egg roll and it's $18, $19 versus this is $17. So I just might as well do this, but it's a little, it's about the same distance, a little bit far away. The difference is the Chinese you can't eat at. It's a carry out only. So I got to go there and then drive home. I usually do it on Saturdays because I'm at the club. I go get the Chinese and then come home and watch football. And there you're going to eat at the place. So, probably a little bit better. And, you can eat a lot of veggies and a lot of meat. It's a perfect meal for me. Oh yeah, they used to have a nice Mongolian spot around here, but now it closed down during COVID. Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, I noticed there's not too many of them. There's, I think, 2 or 3 locations. There's one in Toledo, and then there's this one, and then there's one other one at a different part of town, and that's it. You'd have thought they'd have all sorts of these things. They open up a Chinese buffet. It's terrible. I went there and it was a little pricey and they lowered the prices, but the food is just not really good. A little bit of fat and how they bread the General Chow and the other chickens and you're eating one, there's no meat. It's just I'm eating the breading. So I don't like that one, but yeah, I haven't had Chinese in a while. I might get it tonight, but I do want to go to this buffet. Anyway, work's going well. I mean, it's easy. There's nothing new. I'm getting acclimated. My boss seems okay. And the environment's fine. The pay's fine. It's 15-minute drive. And once I'm comfortable, I'm supposed to be able to work from home 2 days a week. So like yesterday, nobody was there. I mean, there was like 1/10 of the people on Friday. So everybody works from home on Friday, I guess, including my boss, which made it good. I could leave early and I was studying my football and things like that. Hey, Ron, did work at my, no, I don't think so. I think Alyssa did. I don't think work did. I mean, this is what I had. It went away, and now it's a little bit nasal, but no, I don't think so. It was good. The hours are whatever I want. It's basically I get up about 7 and I jump in the shower, get dressed, make lunch, and go. So it's like about a 7:45 till about 4:15. Who takes an hour lunch? I mean, you pretty much eat your lunch at your desk anyway, and you don't call it lunch because you're kind of working as it goes. So it's like a 7:45 to 4:15. So 8.5, which is fine. And then right now I'm driving to the pool from there because it's on 5 Mile and the pool's on 5 Mile. But I might start coming home, eating, doing class, and then going to the club. So I haven't decided. I'm trying to feel that out. Was Alyssa vampiring? No, she's vaping, but she's not vampiring. No, only Greg and John vampires us. So we'll see. I was just talking to Daria, so she's fine. She wants flowers because I got the new job. The pay's great, and I still get Social Security because you can make $22,300 and not fuck up your Social Security. I won't make it because there's only 8 pays. Right? So in the 8 pays, I won't make more than 22.3. Next year, I'll make a whole lot more, but right now I won't. So I still keep myself. So I'm getting my paycheck I get every week. So next Friday is my first one, but then I'll get Social Security. So I get 2 more Social Securities plus my paychecks. And then my mom's trust should be here anytime. And again, I don't know. I'm fucked on that, but if I can get $5,000, I'll be happy. I'll let you know. But yeah, I get 1/10 of everybody's pay. It's fucking ridiculous. But I get the last laugh because I go buy gold with it. They keep money, and when the money goes to zero, they basically got zero from my mom. I turn it into gold, and I get the last laugh. Ron, were we talking about old pincushion butt? I don't pincushion butt. Who's that? No, she's thin and attractive. So I'm not sure who pincushion butt is, but no, she's a friend. Oh, Barry Bond. Yeah, we were talking about Barry, Bobby's friend. Well, Bobby played with him, so that's who we were talking about. Big-headed Barry, not big butt, big head. Yeah, but he's true. They walked him. Aaron Judge, what the fuck was that? How do you drop a ball in center field in the fucking World Series, and then you lose because you dropped it? Well, you lost because the manager pulled your best pitcher like an idiot. Explain that one to him. Well, he pitched 100 pitches. He was tired. Well, it's the fucking World Series. That's too bad. Ron is being a vampire. He talking bad about my buddy Barry. Oh, he's just joking. Oh, Ron's a Mets fan, so yeah, leave him alone. He likes the Jets and the Mets. The Jets got to win. Aaron Rodgers finally looked like a decent quarterback, and C.J. Stroud sucked like he really is. See, C.J. Stroud's good against Texas, against Indy and Tennessee and Jacksonville, but put him against a good team like my JETS's, and he shows you his real value. Bobby played with him when he was normal. Yeah, he did until he got a watermelon head. Barry, but he sure could. Hey, he hit all those home runs in McCovey Cove. Do you ever see a home run hit in McCovey Cove now? I don't see any. I don't see canoes out there trying to get the balls because they're worth millions of dollars. No, Ron's okay. Ron's all right. He's a JETS METS guy, so he's allowed. By the way, speaking of vampires, I haven't seen Greg in class. Yeah, Greg is a pain in the ass. He changed his hat size every year. Why was steroids? Well, why is he not in the Hall of Fame because he took steroids? I mean, it's like not letting Babe Ruth in because he got drunk, or Mickey Mantle because he drank. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Why is Pete Rose now? Is Pete Rose going in the Hall now that he died? I mean, this is just insanity. Well, he bet on baseball. Well, yeah, we don't care about that. We care that he got 4,000 hits. That has never been done and probably never will be done again. So why is he not in the Hall of Fame? And why is Barry and Clemens and McGuire not in? You'll have to see that fucking ball and hit it. Exactly. I mean, that's how I taught my girls' fast pitch team. See the ball, hit the ball. It's as simple as that. You as long as you have hand-eye coordination and you see where the ball is and you swing at it, you'll hit it, because that's how hand-eye coordination works. It'll just go to the ball. So it's very simple. These guys that the batters are so bad right now. The whole Major League Baseball is terrible. Well, we have 15 pitchers on our. We pitch them every inning. We start them. What the fuck's going? Sandy Koufax, if he's still alive, if he's dead, would roll over in his grave. I think he's still alive. I'm not sure. He's probably dead by now. What the fuck is going on here? So you have no quality pitching. You don't have a good pitcher, right? Who's your good pitcher? Verlander is hurt. Scherzer's hurt. This Garrett Cole, if he's so good, gave up 5 runs, didn't cover first base. And I just don't see star pitchers. And for what the Tigers did is an embarrassment to baseball to let this shit team, this minor league team, who didn't have a batter over 250, do what they did is an embarrassment. That's how bad baseball is. When a team of minor leaguers can win all these games and get in the playoffs. Oh, my God. With the curve, you kind of guessing where you are going to hit the ball as it curves. Curveballs, you move up you move up closer to the plate because it curves late. So if you can get it before it starts curving, you can hit it. But once it hits the plate, I don't know how they do that, where it's going like this, and then here's the plate, and then it drops. Right? How do they do it so it doesn't drop before or drop after? This I don't know, but you move up in the box, right? And then you try to hit it before the drop. That's how you hit a curveball. And they're usually slower, so I could hit a curveball. It wasn't that big a deal because it was so slow, and you could see the rotation. You could see the pitches when they're coming. If you're batting, I could. I mean, it's not a big deal. Like, it's coming. See the ball, hit the ball. I mean, it was not a problem. How does roids help you with seeing the ball? It doesn't. Exactly. It heals you up. Like if you're sore, like McGuire had a bad knee or bad shoulder or bad arm, whatever he had. I guess it makes you a little stronger. But McGuire and Bonds didn't need any more strength to hit home runs. But to keep them out of the Hall of Fame, these are nasty columnists or sports writers. I mean, these are the liberals that we hate because there's no reason to keep these guys out of the Hall of Fame. And Pete Rose, for betting on it, he did that as a manager, but the key was he always bet on Cincinnati. He didn't bet against them and throw the game like what's going on now. Right? I think the Yankees threw the game because who could be this stupid, right? From the manager down to the pitcher to the center fielder. I mean, that looked like a fixed game. More so than Pete Rose actually bet. Paul Hornung did that when he was on the Packers and he got suspended for gambling. You know what he did? He bet on the Packers because he knew they were going to kill the Lions or kill the Bears. So he would bet on the Packers. He didn't bet against the team. So I really don't understand what is wrong with it. And I don't know how he gets caught. I don't know how these guys get caught. Hey, Bobby, make this bet for me. and that's it. You make the bet. I don't make the bet. I'm not betting on it. Bobby's betting on it, and he's just happened to take Ohio State, and I just happened to give Ohio State today. Anyway, that's my point too, Ron. The roids they just make you a little stronger, maybe. They cause a lot of problems to your health also. It's not the best thing to do, but I think it's more of a healing thing. But when McGuire hit 80 home runs, it didn't affect him. Did I add ICF? Yes, I did. Yeah, I added them. I think it's a 3:34 o'clock game. I added it with another 3:34 o'clock. We're informed that the Army quarterback isn't playing today, which we had no idea, wasn't on the injured list. So if you need another Navy game, maybe play UCF with it or one of the locks. Love the locks. Tomorrow I don't know what I'm doing because DK Metcalf is out. So I was going to play the Rams-Seattle game, and now I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I might still play it, but it'll be a smaller play. We'll have to see. Let's go Buckeyes. I don't know. I don't like their coach. He keeps losing to Michigan. I lose all respect for anybody that loses to Michigan 3 years in a row. You have double revenge and you lose, and then you lose, don't get in the playoffs. So if they lose to Michigan this year, then the coach should just resign because Michigan sucks this year. I'm a little torn on that Oregon game. I don't know what to do with it. I just don't like the number 14.5. I go down to 8.5. It doesn't really help me. Under 7 would have helped me, but I just don't. And Michigan with the defense, and they're kind of dangerous as a real big dog like this. So I'm just, I took Nebraska instead and Indiana instead. Well, I agree. They can't lose this game. If they lose to Penn State and Oregon, they're not going to be in the playoffs. So this is a must win for them. Bobby had one of the best smiles on the Mets back then. So they should beat Penn State if they're for real. Exactly. That's here's our honorary Bobby Bo rookie card on the Pirates. He has one on the White Sox, I think I have. So he goes from the White Sox to the Pirates to the Mets, back to the Pirates, back to the Mets, whatever. So the Bobby Bo honorary card. Well, is Ohio State for real? I mean, okay, they beat Michigan State 35-7. They beat Iowa, which is a real win. The Oregon game, they didn't choke it, 32-31. Okay. That one I had the over it. This one, I don't trust Penn State to score that much, so I don't know what to do with it. I really don't. Those are the best hats ever. Oh, I like the uniforms. I like the 70 uniforms that Dave Parker would wear, the yellow and the black and the white. I won so much money on that one World Series when they were down 3-1. I think it was 70 or 71. And no, it had to be the 79 one. I was working at Farmer Jack's, and this guy would bet with me. And what was it? Baltimore was up 3-1. So he said, well, teams that are up 3-1 win the series. So I'm going to keep betting Baltimore. And Pitt kept winning. And Baltimore's going to win the series. So I'm going to bet them. That was the only reason he bet them. And I made a fortune because he kept betting Baltimore. So I would get Pitt plus money because when you're the bookie and you lay 140 to win 100, means I win the 140. But if I bet Pitt, I wasn't getting 140 for my money. So it's always, that's the good part of being the bookie. You get the 140 to win 100. So I won a ton on that one. The other one I won was the Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns fight in Detroit, I think, or somewhere. I was booking that game, that one, and everybody here took Hearns. So I was getting the same plus 120, 130 with Sugar Ray Leonard, and he won. And it's like, yeah, this is fun. Yeah. And everybody pays the professor. Parker, I don't know. He was the minor, but he might have been the hammer. I thought it was Greg the Hammer Valentine was the hammer. I don't know. He had a name, Parker. Stargell. Too bad Clemente died. That was tragic, but well, he would have died anyway eventually. But he was really clutch. He actually beat the Yankees in 1960, Clemente, when they won in Game 7. Clemente, I think it was a rookie or just a couple years in. So when he'd get there, he'd produce. Not like Aaron Judge, 0 for 75. Anyway, let's take one more quick look if any lines have moved. Okay, Auburn 7.5 to Vandy, still UAB 2.5 57. Old D 358 to App. Big Nebraska still 738.5. Kansas State. There are a few 12.5s if you want to take Kansas State under 7. Indiana 7.5 53 to Michigan State. Marshall 10.5 48 hasn't moved. UCF 6.5. Is that what I got it at? Oh, it was 6. Okay, so 6.5, 55 to Arizona. Arizona State 4.5, 57.5. That line hasn't moved. Iowa State 13.5, 56 to T-Tech. Okay, that line hasn't moved. UTEP 351 to Middle Tennessee. We don't care about. Georgia 15, 52.5. That line hasn't moved. Oregon 14.5, 45. That line hasn't moved. North Carolina 2.5, 50.5 to Florida State. Coastal Carolina 4, 52.5 to Troy. New Mexico 7.5, 60.5 to Wyoming. Navy 11. You can get an 11 or 10.5, 48 to Rice. Mississippi State 18.5, 19 now to Mass. They should kill Mass. Fresno State 11.5, 45.5 to Hawaii. Clemson 10.5, 62 to Louisville. Nothing's changed there. Iowa 341.5 to Wisconsin. A&M 344 to South Carolina. South Alabama 660 to Georgia Southern. USC 255.5 to Washington. I can't believe they're favored. Tennessee 17.5, 45.5. That number has not changed all week. Colorado State 245.5 to Nevada. Nevada's quarterback's back. SMU 6.5, 756 to Pitt. Total hasn't moved. Baylor 363 to TCU. And that number hasn't moved. And that's it. So not a lot of movements. Oregon just sits there at 14.5. I'll tell you, I just don't know what to do with it. I'll be adding a pro game. I got to feel it. I'm not sure what to do with the Philly game and the Ram game. Those two will be tees, but I don't know. Am I playing totals or teams yet? John Milner, I'm a Mets fan, but Nettles was the best third baseman ever. No, Brooks Robinson was the best third baseman ever. Nettles was good. He could hit home runs, but Brooks Robinson was the best third baseman I ever saw. What a, look at that 1970 World Series when he robbed Cincinnati 20 times in a row. No, he was the best. Nettles, a little bit more offense than Brooks, but yeah. was a great trade by Cincinnati, trading Frank Robinson for nobody. Yeah, that worked out real well. Gave Baltimore 2 World Series, and Cincinnati didn't win until they got Johnny Bench. So anyway, so let's go watch some football. Good news on brics. They're coming out with the gold-backed currency very soon, by December 1st. $3,000 gold is just stair-stepped, and then they'll be moving much, much higher. The U.S., this whole, why are we using COMEX? It's paper, it's bullshit. Why is it still being used? Does the banks have that much? But they don't know that they're ruining the money by printing it and printing it and printing it. It's worthless. What kind of idiots do we have running this country and running the banking system? Well, we know Janet Yellen's an idiot. And the guy running the Fed's an idiot. He's a lawyer. Yeah, why would we have an economist run it? Let's have a lawyer run it. Yeah, unbelievable. Anyway, good luck. How did you F up? What'd you do? Oh, with Greg Nettles? I sold 10 1/10 for a Buffalo. What's wrong with that? So you sold an ounce for a Buffalo. Well, what's wrong? So they were about $300 an ounce. So you sold 3,000, and the Buffaloes cost you about $29.50. That's okay. That's fine. Well, the premium on it, right? It's, let's say you can buy one for 3 1/4. The point of buying the 1/10 is because you can't buy an ounce every time. Who has $3,000 to spend every week? But 300 is fine. So it's a minor thing. You didn't lose much. So the 1/10 of an ounce maybe is 3 1/4. So maybe that's 3,200, and you bought the Buffalo for $29.50. That's all right. I mean, the important thing is you bought a Buffalo with it, so you got that. See, I keep looking at it, an ounce of gold, an ounce of gold, an ounce of gold. I don't get why the Cougaran is not worth as much as the Eagle. I think that's just a U.S. thing. But if we go to Switzerland, I got a feeling they'll all be pretty close. And when the shit hits the fan, holding any gold, they don't give a fuck if it's Cougaran, Maple Leaf, or Philharmonic, or Dollar, or Eagle. It won't. You got an ounce of gold is what it should be. 309 right now for a 1/10. Well, it depends which country. I've seen them as high as 400. There's 314, 318, 318, 315. Let's get to Cougaran 301. Great, I don't know what, Britannia 293. Here we go. So we got a 315, a Philharmonic 300, another one 300. Here's our Maple Leaf 308. So yeah, it's about 310. But again, gold's going to go much higher. So again, that's what you got. Well, it depends. They want to, like here, this is 337, right? Don't buy the proof, but that's what they're trying to get you on is the proof. Here's 330 for an Eagle. So there's many different markets. It depends who the seller is. And don't buy the graded one. Here's a graded one for 409. We don't give a fuck that it's an MS-70. Oh, especially a Biden. Oh, for sure we don't want it. Let's see. Yeah, they're all about that 310. Here's 313. Here's the strange one for 345. A yin yang proof like. Here's 313. So it's about that. So you sold 10 of them, it's about $3,100, let's say. And let's look at the 1 ounce. And again, you know, the price fluctuates when the U.S. gets done with it. So here's a Buffalo at $29.52. So you sold 3,100 for $29.52. It's fine. I mean, that's, you got gold. Here's 129.33. So you're fine. I mean, it's only 100 or two. Let's go metals. There's a guy on YouTube that makes 1/10 silver coins. You can't keep up with them. It's called Your Local Coin Shop. Don't you just love owning metals? Oh, of course we love it, Bobby. It's better than sex, actually. It lasts longer. Yeah, but Ron, I go to my guy and he's got silver all the time. He gets the big bars and somebody chops them up and makes coins, or he gets them, or people come in. Not hard to do. Don't buy the big bar because you don't want it. What are you going to do with it? Silver you bought to go to the grocery store and go to the restaurants with. So if you got a big bar, you're fucked. And then to pay to get it and all the shavings you lose, you're much better off maybe buying 1/10 of an ounce or a 5 ounce or 10 ounce. I have some 10 ounce silver bars, 5 ounce silver bars, but mostly I get the 1 ounce coins. And you're fine with it. So don't get the bars if you can avoid it. Here's 20. Now, look at the Krugerrand, 28.50. I don't get the difference. So I buy the Krugerrands because I go, it's $70 cheaper for an ounce of gold. It's an ounce of gold. It is 1 ounce of gold. The difference with the Krugerrand, there's other characters mixed in with it. But it's still an ounce of gold inside there with other pieces. How about if you sell the bar at the coin store? Well, you're probably not going to get the right value, but you could do that. The 1/10 silver will be good for bartering. There's no bartering. Stop that. There's not going to be bartering. You're going to use silver's money. You can't barter silver and gold. It's money. I can go to my barbecue place and buy a slab of ribs for $30 and pay them with the ounce of silver. That's not bartering. That's paying with money. Bartering is taking my Canadian club. Oh, bartering is taking Mahomes and buying tires, like in that one movie. That's what bartering is using non-money. So this would be bartering for a steak dinner, right? But it'd have to be an expensive steak dinner because this is a 50 count. That's what bartering is. I wouldn't get the 1/10 of an ounce or a quarter ounce or half ounce silver. Just use the ounce of silver. It's going to be $1,000 an ounce anyway. And where are you going to see? They'll come out. Well, I don't know here, but this should be gold and silver backed, right? That's what should happen. These idiots are so stupid. I don't know what they're going to do. We'll come out with CBDCs that aren't backed by gold. Well, they're still worthless. They're still crap. Don't be misled by any currency not backed by gold. It's all toilet paper, right? Keep that in mind. But like a Rolex. So, okay, do you want to use a Rolex, for this Rolex is $513,000. Rolex Daytona. You can barter with that. You could buy a house with that if you wanted to. That I can understand. To buy 1/10 of an ounce of silver, 1/4 ounce, I don't understand it. It's just buy the silver, buy the ounce. It's $32, $33. It's cheap enough. Why do you need to buy 1/10 of an ounce, 1/4 of an ounce? I mean, is it 1/10 of the ounce? If the ounce is $35 is the 1/10 of an ounce, $3.50 is the 1/4 of an ounce, what, $8. But what do you need all the little silver for? No, you don't need it. Who's going to take it? And unless you go to the grocery, you go to Kroger's, unless they have silver in the cash register, what is it? And then are you going to be able to take it to the bank and use your debit card, and it'll be silver-backed debit card, So the money will be silver. I think Mark McGuire was talking about it, but who the fuck wants to use it now? Silver's going to go to $1,000 an ounce. Why do I want to get rid of my silver at $34 an ounce, or gold at only $27.50 when it's going to be $10,000? Why would I do that? Well, gold's going to go much higher than that, so be careful with that. You'll use your ounce for food. How do you know what the price of the food's going to? You want to buy chicken. How do you know how much it's going to cost you? Because this won't exist anymore, because this will be worthless. And if you're using silver to barter, Kroger's will then change his prices to silver. Let's go back to the Roman Empire. You're on the Appian Way, and they're selling fruits and veggies and live chickens probably. And gladiator sweat. I heard that was a big seller. So how did you pay for it? It was priced in gold or silver, right? Probably silver. Was there dimes, quarters, $half of silver? Probably. So that you'll have change. So you go to Kroger with an ounce of silver, and you're going to make change for it, right? They're gonna if they're gonna take it, how are they gonna take it? Because you're at Kroger's, right? Unless you're going to your friends who has a garden, maybe that, but she's going to need to take it. She'll need change to take it or whatever. They're going to do that. So if you're going to Kroger's, you're not going to barter. They'll just be priced in silver, right? Steaks will be an ounce of silver. That'll be a steak, not 20 fake Monopoly toilet paper dollars. Keep in mind, all these prices are in toilet paper dollars, Monopoly money. When you get real money like gold and silver, the price drops dramatically. The Zimbabwe dollar was 30,000. A dollar would buy you 30,000 of them. When they went to the gold-backed currency, all of a sudden, a dollar would buy you 9 zigs, the gold-back. So it went from 30,000 down to 9. And that's what I keep telling you, and that's what I tell Luke when he wants to buy his house. 2 ounces of silver ought to do it, because the house value goes from 500,000 Monopoly money to maybe 50,000 gold money, which will be 2 ounces of gold will buy the house for. I can use to fill one of my toofs. You're typing like Bobby today. Are you drinking early, Ron? 1 hot dog might cost 1/10 of an ounce of silver. Okay. But if people come with an ounce of silver, they got to have change, right? So that's what'll happen. I understand what you're saying, but if they're going to take silver, they're going to have to make change. So if you bring in your ounce of silver, they'll have to have quarters and dimes and nickels to sell it. So they got to make all this stuff. Because you've got to price it in silver, and then it means you got to have silver. So you got to have a cash register full of silver coins, because what good is this shit going to do you? This won't have a value. If you're bartering with silver, this won't have a value. If I'm Kroger's, then I have to start selling it in repricing everything in silver. Right, so that's what'll happen, and then they'll have to buy nickels, dimes, and quarters to pay you with an ounce. Here's 3/4 back. That's what'll happen. So it won't be. You can't barter with money. You can only barter, like I said, with the Mahomes card or with a Rolex or with a Mantle card or something. You'd probably want to use Bobby's rookie card to go to the grocery store with. He's not going to buy a house. Sorry, Bobby, but you can buy some groceries with Bobby's. But again, 1 hot dog, it's only price of what the market determines. So if the market says it's worth, it's 1/10 of an ounce of silver for a hot dog, that's what it'll be. But if you walk in with an ounce, they'll have to make change for you. How are they going to collect it? Oh, here's 1/10 of an ounce. Okay, but that's fine. But that'll be expensive for a hot dog. At $1,000 an ounce, that'll be $100 hot dog. Anyway, that's understood, but I'd buy the ounces of silver. I would just be fine with the 1/10 of an ounce of gold. I'm not looking to trade mine for an ounce of gold. I did that with my wedding ring, and I had a gold bracelet, wrist thing. I sold that for a 1/2 ounce of gold recently because I'd rather have the coin. But I don't, because you'll still need the 1/10 of an ounce of gold for smaller transactions. Although when it hits 20,000, it'll be 2,000. You got to realize all the prices are coming way, way down because you're not going to be pricing it in garbage dollars. You're going to be pricing it in gold, and the value will be much, much cheaper. So you'll be buying a shitload with an ounce of silver at the grocery. You'll fill your basket with an ounce of silver at the grocery store. But they have to. Everybody's got to revalue their prices because everything's priced in dollars now. And that's why gold's really going to move. That's why gold should be so much higher because, well, wait a minute, if they're fucking printing the dollar to death, gold should be going the same way, right? Why isn't the gold price going up? Oh, the derivative. That's why I keep saying it's worth a hell of a lot more. And watch what Russia and China do when they revalue the gold. It's going to be huge. 5,000 minimum, probably 10,000. And here they're going to be, oh, I thought gold was a pet rock. I didn't know it actually really had value. Yeah, how about a Rolex? Do you know that Rolex has value too? 513,000. Do you realize Rolex has value, fellas? Fucking idiots in charge. So you gotta be stoic and understand everything. Nobody's going to give a shit about a baseball card if shit hits the fan. Oh, yes, they will. They will care about Rolex and they will care about Mantle. You got a lot of gold and you can buy a Mantle card for an ounce. You're buying the Mantle card. Depends on how much gold you have. But when the shit hits the fan, the gold goes through the roof. Now I can afford. Luke wants to buy a house with it. He'll buy a house with, I'm saying, 2 ounces of gold. When the shit hits the fan is when you'll get the baseball card really cheap because people put it this way. So right now we all have money. We all have monopoly money, right? Because that's how we get paid. When the shit hits the fan, I don't have any gold or silver because I'm one of these idiots who didn't listen to the professor and didn't buy gold and silver. So if I'm an idiot who didn't listen, but I do have assets, now the dollar's gone, which will be very soon. And then what do I need? I need money. I need gold and silver. What do I have that I can do? Oh, I can get some gold with this card or the Mantle card or the Rolex. Wow, I have the Rolex. I can get some gold for that. And that's what people will do is they'll realize those assets, a Picasso, my Van Gogh, yeah, you can get gold for them because they will always have a value. Things will have values. The Mantle card, a Babe Ruth card, Mahomes, all those cards will have great value. It'll just, what do you do now when you need money? You sell your gold for money, right? Because you need money. People aren't recognizing. You can pay with silver at some places, but people aren't recognizing it. So once people recognize, they will want gold and silver. And then so you sell things like now you sell your gold, even your Mantle card. You sell your Mantle card to get money. You sell your gold to get money. Well, when gold is the money, you will sell your Mantle card and that to get the gold instead of getting the money, just like they're doing now. People need to eat. What do? They go to the My Gold store guy and they give them some golds to get money so they can eat. So what will have value? Well, the Rolex will always have value, the Picasso, the Mantle card. They'll use it to get the gold and the silver. That's what an asset is. The asset will not fall off the table. Your house will have zero value in dollars, but it will have value in gold. And I'll give you an ounce or two of gold for your house. You'll take it because you need gold and you can't find it because there won't be any to find. It's very, very limited. This is what nobody understands except for us. Okay, you get it, Ron, right? Bobby Bowe is not happy at all right now. I went big on Ohio State money line, and the idiot quarterbacks threw a pick six, and they're down 10-0. Well, don't worry, Bobby. It's 4 quarters in the game. I'm thinking of putting a live bet on them to come back. Yeah, well, so explain that to me. What are your odds? What if you bet Ohio State? What's the line now? What's the live bet line? We know Ohio State will come back. They'll probably win the game. You're like Alex. Alex emails me. I hate it. Oh, they don't look so good. They're down 14-0. Then it's the first quarter, and then by the end of the game, the team we won is winning, 42-30. It's a 4-quarter game. So yeah. Professor, explain Mr. B. Odds are not good enough, so I will hold off as it's only plus 125. Well, what's the line? How many points do you get? Explain Mr. B. What's Mr. B? I don't understand the question, Ron. What is Mr. B? Are you talking Bobby with his money line? I don't understand the question. Help me out. Asking Bobby to explain. Yeah, so I guess there's live betting, and live betting is they change the odds as the game goes on. So if you think Ohio State's going to win, you're now getting better odds with them because they're down 10-0. So it's as simple as that. And is there not points, Bobby? You don't get Ohio State plus 10 now? That's what I think it would be, right? You'd get 10 points with it. Ohio State will come back. They're going to score. They're too good of a team. And that's what fucks your overs and your unders, right? A pick six in a defensive game makes it go over. But the good defenses, you'd bet it under. So it's the punt returns and the interceptions. Just like when I took my boy Mahomes at like 300 in the Super Bowl and he cashed in for me. Yeah, well, that's what I remember that. And that was a good bet. Do they not give lines? Do you not get Ohio State plus 10 now or plus 3 or plus 7? And then can you tease it? So if it's plus 3, can you go Ohio State plus 9? You'll be all right. I mean, it's a long game, and they'll figure it out. Although I don't like Ryan Day, I'm telling you. The guy I don't like it. Who do I got? I got Ohio State plus 3. Who do I got him with? Oh, I got him with Nevada. Okay. Well, Nevada's at night. I can replay Nevada if I need to. That's why we all love the Bradys and Mahomes of the world, because they make us good money. Exactly. Lawrence Taylor, exactly. Joe Montana. That's why I always fight. Joe Montana made me so much money. He's the best. And then the best coach, the Miami of Florida in the 80s, made me a ton. I had 14 points against Nebraska. And I teased it up to 20, and they win the game straight out in that 1984 game. I loved it. I don't get all of these betting apps with live betting and props. whatever happened to betting 10 timers. Touchdown. Oh, there you go. Okay. I don't like the live bets. I don't understand them. I like to pick the game, and then I got the game, and that's it. The live bets, they're trying to get more action. What it is they're trying to get more action. They want more betting because they know most people will lose their bets. So they're inventing ways to get you to lose your money. The prop bets are the dumbest, and then this live betting is stupid. Like here, Bobby's only getting 120. They're down 10-0. Why are you only getting 125? And aren't you getting points? So this is where you would bet the live when Penn State takes the lead. You know Ohio State's going to win the game. So then you would take the points with Ohio State. Was it the freshman receiver who caught the ball? So there's something wrong when the Alabama and Ohio State have 17-year-old receivers who are very good. Aren't they in high school at this point? Are they on steroids? How are they so good at 17? I love over under better for live bets. I used to have to call on the phone with a weird code name. I was always Howard to my bookie. My dad got me his bookie from the bowling alley. Half the bowlers at the bowling alley were bookies. I loved it. You know, an accountant, nerdy, dress shirt, and he's the bookie. I loved it. And I'd always cash on Tuesdays. I'd meet my dad for lunch, and he'd give me money, and it was the greatest thing. It's like, yeah, this is my job. I'm a bettor. Yeah. Well, I got so hot on one guy. I hit 21 out of 22 teasers on a Saturday. It was rivalry week. So Washington State, Oklahoma State. I took all the dogs. 22 teasers. I hit 21 of them. The guy goes to me the next day. He says, "Oh, you know, the FBI's monitoring my phone. I can't. I'm out of business." I knocked the guy out of business with my teasers. 21-1. And the other time I go 17-0, and I win $1,800 on a Saturday. This was in the mid 70s. I loved it. When I get hot, look out, and I'm hot right now, burning up. Smoke's coming out of me. So we hear the Army quarterback's not playing, and I'm like, not a problem. Air Force sucks. Look for Army. They'll still, when you got good coaches, the backups are ready to go. I'm not particularly worried about the Army. My dad used to keep money in bank for a fine or bond money just in case. Yeah, I mean, I used to keep money in the bank. I don't keep anything in the bank now. I keep a little bit to pay rent, like rent's due, I guess Monday, and I got money for rent, and that's it. The rest is in the safe or it's changed into gold and silver. I'm like Rumpelstiltskin. I turned Monopoly money into gold. I love that. Rumpelstiltskin. He was the man. He was a runner. Oh, I see. Well, that's good. That's a nice job. I tried booking a little bit, but I enjoy betting it more. Although I would love it, like if I like Denver tomorrow plus the 9.5, and I'm teasing them to 15.5. Then people are calling up on Baltimore. I'm just booking the action. I'm not laying it off. I'm like, oh, good. I like this. But I'm really cooking with the over-unders. Once you figure out the teams, good defense or good offense and weak defense, like Dallas is an over and Baltimore is an over and Cincinnati. Once you figure out that, it's really makes it. much easier to win because you got 4 ways, and then that's why I'm like Philadelphia. I'm like, do I take Philly? Do I take the over? Philly's got a pretty good defense. Jacksonville, maybe Trevor Lawrence will find a couple of touchdowns. Their defense sucks. It's what I'm struggling is Jacksonville's defense is so bad that Philly should light them up, but Philly's defense is playing well. They should win the game, and I'm only laying 1. That's the dilemma. Or I can go over, which probably gets there. Just in case Jacksonville wins, it'll be high scoring. But their defense is so bad, but I don't really trust Jalen Hurts. Holding the bat. Yeah, no, I know what a runner is. Well, that was good. You had a productive childhood, I see, so that's good. I used to watch my dad Friday night poker games. Every Friday, there was like 10 of them, and they would rotate houses. So when it was at our house, I'd be sitting there just watching. I'd be watching the hand, watching the betting. I love the cards. I love the numbers, and so I'd be watching the games. Nobody cared. I wasn't giving signals, and you just watch how they play. That's how I learned poker. I'm like 8, 9 years old, and loving it. It was like the Flintstones. It would be poker and then bowling. My dad was good for something, and then he coached my little league team. House of Smoke, yeah, but we had good food then. We'd always get all the food. So whoever hosted brought all the food and the pop and the dessert, and so you had a meat tray, and it was great. I ate like a king, but that was good. The good old days. Now, is there poker? Does anybody have a poker game at their house, or you go to MGM and play? I haven't been to MGM in a while. I might go for like the holidays. I'm not sure what to do Thanksgiving. I could go to Vegas. It's a nice short 3-4 days. A lot of football on, a lot of poker, but I don't know, Vegas with these resort fees, it's turning me off. I didn't mind a nice $40 hotel room at the Tuscany, but when it's now $150 because of the resort fee, I'm like, not such a bargain anymore. Anyway, I think that's about it. I want to go watch some football. I'm hungry. I want to eat. I've got 1, 2, 3. I got 4 locks going, 2 in the pros, 2 in college. And I love them. I love them. I love them. I love them. Very strong. And again, the Rams game, I don't know what I'm doing with it. Metcalf's out. So there goes my over in the game, I think. I don't know. I might still play him over, but they only got 10 points last week without Metcalf. I don't really trust. I don't like the Seattle coach. He's terrible. He's the defensive coach, and their defense sucks. So we will see. Iowa State got ball back. All right, Ron, you have a nice day, and let's hammer them. Okay, Bobby, I'll be on 11-1 because it's pros, and I wanted to get Mark McGuire in. So don't worry, Brics is coming out with that gold back currency, which is what we thought, but they had to be a little bit stealth with the whole U.S. and so scared, and we're going to kill you and all that shit. So anyway, hopefully Trump wins, the war ends, and I can finally go meet Daria in Russia. And then I'll trade some gold in for gold back currency. So that's what we'll have to do. Somehow get the gold back currency. It'll probably be on eBay or something we can buy it with. All right. Have a good day. Good luck. Again, your free picks, Nebraska today, the Cincinnati Bengals. No, the Nebraska today even, and the Denver Broncos getting 15.5 is a fucking joke. All right, everybody. Have a nice day. Take care. www.teaserking.com, of course.